This week on Real News Podcast, we talk about the popular platformer Unravel 2, followed up by the procedurally generated Zelda-like game Songbringer. After that, we get into some news and then get into a little bit of an off-topic discussion. So sit back, relax, and put your seatbelts on. And welcome to the to Real Dudes Podcast. This is Kyle, and we've got a full house tonight. We've got Carrington.
Hey.
Andrew.
Hola.
And Cody.
What's up, y'all?
Cody coming in with that smooth. What's up, y'all? Guys, I feel like it's been maybe a minute since we've all recorded together.
Seems that way.
We've all been rather busy.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's nice. I think we've got a really good show. We are going to be talking about EA's and Coldwood Interactive's Unravel 2. Following that will be Wizard Fu Songbringer. It is a top-down Zelda-like game with procedurally generated worlds. I think over a couple million different layouts for it, which is ridiculous. So there's a lot of
No Man's Sky.
Yep. Kinda.
Hopefully not as dead.
We'll get to that in a little bit. But to kick things off here, before we get into Unravel. I think we've all kind of been pretty busy here lately, but I think Carrington has been especially busy trying to get a new car. So
Indeed, and
take it away into this awkward transition.
So my car, my girl, as I affectionately call her, it's a Toyota Matrix. She's at 160 miles. I have no doubt in my mind.
160 miles, Carrington.
Yeah. It's the Toyota.
Oh man, 160,000. 160,000.
He's like, she's kind of worn out. Like she all busted up at 160 miles. Thank you, Toyota.
Ooh, she's not going to go much further after this, boys. But I've been on the market for a new car. I have no doubt in my mind, though, she could go another 160,000. But I've just been in the market just to see what I can get, and I've been in the market for a new vehicle, not just a new car, but a new vehicle. So I've looked at electric motorcycles, and I've looked at electric cars, and I've settled on the Nissan Leaf actually.
Okay.
It's been quite the past 2 weeks for me actually, with one dealership not even wanting to sell me the car. Like they didn't . You know how a salesman, when you go to a salesman, they try and sell you everything. This salesman was just not selling me anything, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to deal with you. You're awful. Taking the fun out of it. Dealership number 2, I don't know. I went there, and then they said, hey, we'll give you a call when we get this, because they didn't have the one I wanted in, and they're like, we'll call you when it comes in. I saw it on the lot, so I called them, and then they just haven't gotten back to me. I'm like, I don't want to deal with you guys because you guys are awful customer service.
They don't want to sell cars. They sound like the opposite of salesmen.
Exactly. Yeah. They just want to keep them on the lot.
Sounds like Nissan's not a company to deal with, or you need to call corporate.
Oh, you should go to Subaru.
I wouldn't argue that. I mean, I'm a Toyota person, but Subaru's a good choice.
Do they have an electric car?
Heck cares? No, but why did you need one?
Exactly. No one wants an electric car because you're a man.
STI or electric car? Which one?
When you said electric car,
it was a little out of my price range. Yeah.
When you said electric car, the first thought that came to my mind was Steve Urkel with his little
BMW that he had.
Yeah, I don't think that was electric, but for some reason
you could get an i3. Those are little BMW electrics.
They are quite nice too.
Yeah.
The other reason they weren't on my list is because of pricing, and to their charging plug isn't as universal like the Nissan Leaf is, or even the Chevy Bolt has a universal plug-in thing.
And they're hideous.
Oh gosh, yeah. They do look like squished up Volkswagen Beetles to me.
Yeah. I like a smart car, but
I'm pretty
worse.
sure if you're buying an electric car that the look is not exactly your top point.
Yeah, probably.
'Cause,
Unless you're going for a Tesla,
I have
then no.
yeah. And
I
at
don't
that
know, you got
point,
Teslas, the Chevy Volts aren't too ugly
They're not
looking.
too bad. Yeah, the Leafs are not that good looking, but they're not terrible either.
yeah.
Anyway, so dealership number 3 wanted to. I told them like, hey, I don't have the money for a down payment, and they were like, okay. But then I found out that there was a used car that I'm going to look into getting possibly first before going brand new, just because it's cheaper. But that's where I'm at right now. No real good update as of right now. It's a journey.
A journey.
Well,
Yeah.
The
whenever-
Nissan Journey?
So
but it
I'll
sounds
keep you
to me
guys
like-
updated as to what happens the next coming weeks.
When you're ever serious to actually about looking at a real car, though, it sounds like you can call either me or Cody, and we could help you out.
Yeah, we got your back.
Thank
Also,
thank
if you need help looking at a used car, bring a mechanic friend.
Yeah, good point. That's a good,
Good point. But yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. I don't actually have a new car as of right now, but it's in the process. In the
Gosh,
making,
if you
will.
know, guys, we just missed an opportunity here. If this had that had been the perfect segue, if we had just like done a racing game or something.
Oh, yeah.
Am I right? Am I
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
yeah.
time.
The Crew 2 beta has been announced.
There you go.
But
That
this-
was actually quite fun. I like that.
I'll
The
keep you
beta
guys
was great.
updated as how this adventure unravels.
Thank you.
Oh.
I caught you on the journey,
Nice.
little pun there earlier. But yeah, so guys, during E3, EA announced Unravel 2. They teased it, showed some gameplay, and introduced a co-op mode with the game, which is actually just the game itself. But yeah, so this game is brought to us by EA, and the Coldwood Interactive is the team that built it and built Unravel 1. Man, what can I say? This game is awesome. For those that have played the first game, it definitely is very similar to it, except for the fact that you are dealing with multiple characters on one screen. Instead of just Yarnie himself. So I think when I played it, first I didn't get to go back and play the first one, but the second one did feel shorter, and it felt a little easier than the first one. Carrington, have you started it?
I've started it,
Okay.
but I have not finished it in any way, shape, or form. But from what I've heard from other people, it seems like the story is a bit more adult-like,
Yeah.
despite it looking more cutesy.
Yeah, I don't want to go into it too much, but it does definitely start out on a darker note, and it deals with two individuals that I don't know for a fact if they are siblings or if they are lovers.
Oh boy, that's always a party right
I guess,
there.
or a boyfriend and girlfriend. But there is, they are running from something throughout the game, and so I haven't been able to interpret it. And I haven't done a whole lot of research on the story itself. But from what from my perspective, it is, I don't want to get into it too much, because I don't want to spoil it. But it is definitely
spoilers.
definitely a darker story than the first game, and it introduces some new things. Like for instance, co-op. I did not play co-op, but I did talk to a couple people that have played it. They thoroughly enjoyed it, and from what they had told me, you are able. So you have two Yarnies on the screen. You can play with one. There are some puzzles where you're going to need the second one to help swing you across things and climb certain things. But one of the Yarnies can jump on the other's back and just hold on to him while you're running across. So, I was thinking for challenging situations, say if you're playing with somebody who's not, as skilled as you during games, or even just someone that's younger, maybe a kid or something, it does make it convenient to where you can kind of help walk them through difficult situations yet still enjoy playing together. which is cool. If they would have said to me when the first Unravel released, "Hey, we're going to make the next one co-op," I would have said, "How on earth are you going to do that?" And they successfully did it.
Now, building off the first one, would you say, because I feel like the first one did a good job like setting up mechanics and things like that, but ultimately fell short on a few things. Would you say the second one's better than the first?
Oh yeah, it. So like with the first game, I felt like it was easier to get stuck at puzzles, and this game felt a lot more fluid. Almost felt like you were kind of parkouring your way through the puzzles and maps and stuff. It was a lot faster. And I think there was only one puzzle that kept me stumped for about 10 minutes. Everything else kind of went together rather quickly.
That's not too bad.
No. Some of the puzzles do take like some real critical thinking as far as like how you're supposed to attach your yarn and kind of flip yourself through certain areas. But it wasn't, as challenging as I thought the first one was. But like with the first one, the music and the graphics and the settings, like it was just I guess the best way to put it would be a comfortable game to play. Like you just kind of felt relaxed playing it. This game was the same. There are some, chase sequences and there's some dark sequences, but when you're in the forest and you've got that melancholy music playing in the background, it's just such a good break from a lot of the other games that are out, that are pretty much stuffed in front of our faces. I don't know. I feel like that was pretty much the whole thing with the game. The challenges were good. Yeah, this is what I wanted to mention. The previous game, you had the one character, and you didn't really have these challenges. But in this game, you've got these challenges where you get into a certain area in the main hub, and there are other Yarnies that are trapped in like a cobweb of yarn, and you have to get through the puzzle in order to get to them and set them free. I think I got through a little bit more, maybe 75% of the puzzles. I think there's 20, and I got right around to 15. And as you unlock them, those Yarnies become, they kind of chill out in the hub world where you're at. And then, on top of that, you can customize your Yarnies. So in the trailer, you saw the blue and the red guy, one with like 3 spikes, one with 2 spikes on the head. They're all different kinds of colors, all different kinds of heads and shapes and body styles and stuff. And I thought that was really cool. Although I didn't change it because I just kind of was a stickler for keeping it the same with how they're introduced to you in the game. It is pretty neat if you do want to see kind of something different in the game. I don't know. This game has a lot of soul with it, I guess.
More soul than the first one?
Yeah. Although I think I got pretty emotional towards the end of the first game. It might be one of the better games I've played this year. Actually, I'm not going to say it might be. It is one of the better games I've played this year. And I'm glad they released it the day that they announced it, because that definitely kind of, got us all excited.
Would you put it in your list of Game of the Year, running for Game of the Year this year then?
I mean, out of games that I've played, as far as indie games go, probably, even like AAA games, there hasn't been a whole lot of games that I've played this year that have really, like, wowed me, I guess. Mm-hmm. I still need to play Celeste. I might play it over this weekend. But, if I rated it, I was thinking about this earlier, I'd give it an 8.5.
Pretty solid.
Yeah,
pretty solid.
It's definitely a game, like, if you like those puzzle platformers, then you want to pick this up because it's good. It's got emotion, it's got soul, and it's got really good puzzles in it, and it's not too long. Like I said, I'm gonna say it probably took me 6 hours to beat, like through the story, and that's with half of the challenges being completed. So there's still some more that I can go back and play.
But odds are you could probably finish those in another 1 to 2 hours. Maybe 3 tops.
Yeah, just depends. I don't know if I've done the most difficult challenge or not. They're kind of just spread out throughout the world.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yep. So is that Unravel? Two by Coldwood Interactive, which is done through EA's little indie project that they've been doing.
And we will have another project from that program until February, I think, of 2019.
What's the next one?
I can't think of the name. I always forget the name of that game, and it looks incredible. They showed it right after Unravel 2 during E3.
Sea of Solitude.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. They said February for that?
I thought so. That's a stacked month.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, one other thing, like if you've got a kid that, you want to play this with or something, I think this would be a great co-op game for you and your kid. So, or even your spouse. I don't think there's going to be a lot of hair pulling and frustration coming out of it if something bad happens.
No Andrew Brianna Mario Kart level type nemesis stuff going on.
I don't think so. Oh man, I keep forgetting certain things. They also introduced a kind of a new enemy to the game. It's like a shadow enemy, which is introduced very early. If you touch it, you kind of just immediately disintegrate. Kind of like an Avengers spoiler that I'm not going to talk about.
I mean, if you haven't seen that movie by now, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I agree. Anyways, so yeah, Unravel 2, 8.5. If you should play it. You all should go and play it and support this amazing team. We had got in touch with Wizard Fu, who developed Songbringer. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, this game is a Zelda-like, kind of retro top-down hack and slash dungeon crawler, but it is procedurally generated, so every time you play, you get a different layout of the map. And the graphics are gorgeous for the style that they were going with. Soundtrack was groovy and just awesome. And something that this game brought that I really enjoyed was some humor between the main character and his sidekick, which is a robot. Basically, your ship crashes on a planet, and it's your job to explore it and try to figure out what's going on and how to get off the planet. Some things that I thought that went pretty well with it. Again, the combat, it's fun. It is pretty simple. I didn't struggle with it too much. But also, as you go through the world and you start finding items, you can customize those items with elements that you get from defeating, I think it was not bosses, from unlocking certain things. So you can like get a sword, customize ice with it, and freeze things. You can get acid and so I put acid on my boots, and whenever I would teleport, it would leave a trail of acid behind me, which would burn enemies or like damage them. In my hat that I had, I could throw, it's like a top hat, I would put fire with it, and it would leave a trail of fire. And then that would also like burn plants and stuff to get into secret areas that I couldn't get into before. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I will say, when you were comparing this game to Zelda, so I have played this game as opposed to Unravel 2. I didn't believe you when I started it up because I'm like, there's no way. And I was thinking more like modern Zeldas, not classic Zelda. So when I started it up and the opening sequence was going through, I'm like, how was this compared to Zelda? But then I realized you were comparing it to like the classic Zeldas, like the original Zelda and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would have to agree. If you are a fan of that franchise or games like it, this is definitely the game for you. It's definitely got that good old indie voxel style artwork, so it definitely has that appeal to it as well.
Yep.
And the combat's not too hard either, which I was kind of surprised about. But at the same time, in classic Zelda-like fashion, it does not tell you where to go. When you want to do something, you just kind of have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Figure it for yourself.
Character just singing on this podcast. Kind of building off what you said, it doesn't really tell you where to go. The game started out really strong for me and ended really strong, but the middle, I thought it lost its magic. I didn't. Let's see. I was gonna say I didn't really know what to really expect from this. In fact, it was like a Zelda game, and I got stuck a lot. There's like a week where I was just stuck on trying to figure out where to go, and I would use certain items like the biodetectors. They'll direct you which dungeon to go to next, and then there's another item I can't remember off the top of my head that'll tell you what certain items are on the map or like where you need to explore more. But what I didn't know is you get a meditation type thing where you lay on the ground. It unveils items and secrets for you in the area that you're at. So I was wandering around just trying to find certain stairways and stuff forever, and I couldn't find them. And then I realized 2 days ago that if I did this thing, then it would unlock more. So that was obviously an error on my part, and I think if I would have known that sooner, then I would have gotten through the game a lot faster. I guess that was a turnoff for me. The ending was really good. The boss battles, I won't go into it too far, but once you go through it, you understand it is a difficult fight. It was the most difficult fight in the game for me. Man, I don't know what else to really say about it. How far did you get, Carrington?
I would say I defeated probably about 3 bosses, I think.
Okay. Did you get to?
I'm not sure.
Did you get to customize anything?
No, I didn't realize that was a thing until I'm like, oh, now I got to go back and see if I have that ability yet.
Yeah. That was definitely my favorite part about the game. Just seeing what kind of different items you get. I know there was items that I did not get that you can get in other games. That I wasn't, and then I also know that there was a mission or a dungeon that I didn't do that you can do in other playthroughs of it. So it definitely has a lot of replayability to it, as far as that goes. And it was fun. The way that I did play the game was I explored the entire world first, like trying to get through everything.
Oh wow!
And then once I found the dungeons, after I found all the dungeons, I went through them in numerical order. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think there was 8 or 9 total.
Okay, so I'm not even halfway done yet because
Yeah.
I just started a new job, and the Switch is probably the most amazing system known to mankind because I can take it to work and play it.
Oh yeah,
So I've been playing on my lunch break,
yeah.
and then when I get home, I've been playing games that we will be covering soon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, I guess to kind of summarize it, if you are a big fan of top-down Zelda, I think you should definitely try this game. It'll scratch that itch for you, especially if you've run through the old school Zeldas multiple times. It took me 9.5 hours to beat my first playthrough. And like I said,
That's
I
pretty
think
solid, I'd say, especially for an indie game. That's pretty long.
I think that it would have gone by a lot quicker had I paid attention more to being able to find the secrets. But the dev, he has a speed run on YouTube that I watched yesterday, and it only took him less than 2 hours to beat it. So I feel like
He sped ran his own game.
yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yep. That's pretty cool. And we might get him on for an interview. That's still in the works. Not definite, but we are trying to work on it. So Songbringer, playing through it, I did unlock a bunch of stuff in it. I think starting it, I was really excited for it. And like I said, lost the magic in the middle. And again, got really excited for it towards the end. If I would rate the game, I would keep it at... I give it 8.0.
Okay, I was going to give it the same, but then again, I also haven't finished it.
Yeah.
This is based on what I've played so far.
Well, there's multiple endings to it too, so that does give you more reasons to play it again. And it's definitely it's worth picking it up on the eShop and playing it, or Steam, or X or PS4. I think it is on Xbox too. I can't remember, but yeah, it's definitely a good game. I think it's something that you guys should try play through if you get the chance.
I might even stream it, which
Yeah,
I've
you
been
should
doing
do that.
recently on the channel.
I think you really should do that. It's a good game to stream. So that's it. That's our games for this week. Unravel 2 and Songbringer. And I think in the next couple weeks we will be doing another 2 gamer episode.
Miles and Kilo. Is that one of them?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember what was on the list for next time.
Miles and Kilo, and I can't remember the other game. But we'll keep you guys up to date. And I agree we should stream some of the games before we actually talk about them.
I can do that.
So, all right. Before we get into the news, let's go ahead and take a quick break.
Have you ever been reading through a stack of comics and thought, hey, maybe I should see what this Arkham Asylum game is all about? Or been playing Marvel vs. Capcom and felt like you were at a real disadvantage because you didn't know who half the characters were? Well, Play Comics is the show for you. I'm Chris, and each episode, I take a look at video games based on comic book properties and how well they stick to that source material. So, whether you know the comics and want to actually learn how these games work, or know the games and want to know what the hell is going on, go check out Play Comics at playcomics.com, the Brain Trust Bros Network, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
If you like video games, debates, and silly banter, you'll love Gamerheads Podcast.
Outside of your store, because I do feel like your store knows its identity. I do. I think that you guys know what you are. No?
Not always.
Really?
It sells fidget spinners.
Well,
Not anymore.
I mean, for a while.
Not
I mean,
anymore.
Not,
You're
not,
experimenting
not
with
anymore.
That's what I'm saying, though. You were just experimenting.
Golf was made by a Japanese guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go Iwata.
Yeah.
Oh, the game.
Yeah, not the
Okay.
sport.
Yeah.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
like, huh.
Well, speaking of Nintendo,
Follow Gamerheads on Podbean at gamerheadspodcast.podbean.com.
And we are back, dudes, with some dude news.
Some real news. Ayo.
So we got quite a bit to go through. As far as news go, we had a developer contact us about a mobile game called Domination Earth, and that is Epic Dragon that published it. So the game is like a, how do I put this? I haven't played it a whole lot. They wanted us to do a review on it, but we've been kind of really backed up with other games that we are reviewing, so I thought I'd, kind of just give them a little shout out here in our news section since the game was recently released. From what I have played, it reminds me of Pokemon Go, but with kind of Civilization, or maybe like Civilization in real life. If that makes sense.
I'm gonna have to download it.
It's basically you start with like your own area, which I made as my house. You kind of collect coins and stuff and start building things, and then from what I've played, it kind of gets you up and going and walking around and collecting more coins, kind of like how Pokemon Go does. And you need to capture land in order to build your military bases, recruit armies, and then establish, regional dominance. So yeah, I need to play this a lot more. I haven't, but it's Domination Earth by Epic Dragon.
And it's both on the Apple Play Store and Google Play Store.
Yeah. I guess the best way to really put this, it is, if anyone does geocache or has ever done it, it is geocaching on steroids. So I've never done anything with geocache, but I have had a friend that really got obsessed with it. And he was always walking around and trying to find certain geocaches. I don't know. It seems really cool. So if I continue playing this, I will update you guys as far as my adventures and where it leads me. Hopefully not murdered in
It's
backwoods of
2
West Virginia.
adventures we have to keep tabs on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And the car. We can get geocaching in your car.
Yes, sir. Hey, I won't have to fill up for gas. Just saying.
Oh yeah. Carrington, you played the prequel to Life is Strange 2?
Yes,
The
the
Adventures-
Adventures of Captain. Oh gosh, now I can't remember the name of it.
Spirits.
Yes, thank you, Captain Spirit. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So yeah, this is something that was announced at E3 earlier this year, kind of a surprise to everyone. And it is the kind of offshoot of Life is Strange so far, from what I can tell. It takes place within that same universe. It's definitely a prequel to Life is Strange 2. Have you gotten a chance to play it? Anybody else here?
No, I've heard of it, and it looked cool, but I have not played it.
Okay, I would highly suggest to go out and grab it right now. It's free. It's just 1 episode long, though. So you can do like multiple playthroughs of it, which is nice. It does give you some sort of like objectives. And apparently whatever you do in this game will affect some stuff in Life is Strange 2, but it hasn't been said yet. Now, I've only played portions of the first Life is Strange. I've only played episodes 1 and 2, so I don't know how that ends. And I don't know how this fits into that universe just yet. But I will say, as a standalone, not knowing too much about the universe, it's actually quite fantastic. It's about a little kid who has an overactive imagination, and he's just trying to survive his current living situations.
Which
his
isn't
mother,
good.
Yeah, no, his mother died, and his father is an alcoholic trying to take care of him. And the game makes that very clear within the first 10 minutes or so, with very melancholy music as an introduction. And I will say there were some strange things about it, because there were times where you could just kind of sit around and do nothing, and then the camera changes while like there's music playing, which is different. But I did like leave it on for like 5 or 10 minutes or so just to see if anything would happen, and nothing happened.
Just kind of chilled and just
Just
mellowed
enjoyed
out.
the music.
Yeah.
The music that's playing is now a song that I fell in love with as soon as I heard it. It's called Death with Dignity by Sufjan Stevens. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
I
But
don't know. Sounds good.
it's the song is fantastic. I would highly recommend it.
I think that's what those games are pretty well known for their music. It's always some kind of like indie, like acoustic or like kind of singer-songwriter type of music that plays in dramatic or mellow points of the games.
Oh yeah, for sure. And this, I fell in love with that artist now, like just based off of, because that's how I find new music now, because I don't have time to explore music. It's through video games, and now I'm in love with that artist. So it's fantastic. I did finish the game because it only took me about maybe 2 hours to beat. So like that's why I highly recommend you guys just go out and play it, even if you don't have time to play it. You can finish it in no time at all. It has a slow start, but it picks up towards the end there.
Cool.
And I can't wait to see. I'm definitely gonna play the rest of Life is Strange 1, and I will probably play Life is Strange 2 as soon as it comes out.
Yeah, I guess that game will be releasing sometime this year.
It's supposed to, yeah.
Okay. Mario Tennis 3. Not Mario Tennis 3. Stupid notes. So I picked up Mario Tennis Aces for the Switch. I'm absolutely loving it.
Hey, so did I.
It's getting 3 new characters that will be releasing for free. And they're already kind of like question marked as far as playable characters in the thing. So hopefully we get to see that soon. I don't know the release dates for them, but I'm excited to see who they're going to introduce.
Yeah.
Here's a big one.
I think I unlocked one already. I'm not sure. Because it said if I played online, it would unlock one early. I don't know if that's one of the new characters or not.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And I won my first match online. The first match I ever played. It was a tough match, but I won.
Did you go to sleep after that?
I did.
It just took you out completely. Amy Hennig leaves EA and the Star Wars project to start her own independent studio.
It's a huge loss for EA, but I'm cheering for Amy
huge win
Hennig.
for the. It's a huge win for the indie community.
Yep.
That's crazy. I don't know what to say other than the fact that I'm excited for this. I don't. I have very mixed emotions about EA, and for someone as talented as her, it's going to be awesome to see like where her thoughts,
creative juices.
just kind of come into play without any strings attached to a corporate
I agree.
company. So
I have heard those stories that she is kind of difficult to work with, which is one of the reasons why EA was getting frustrated. So
Yeah.
it did go both ways, but she is a genius in the end, in my opinion, because she did ultimately create one of the greatest franchises in recent history, being Uncharted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So hopefully we'll see something out of the next E3. Maybe her project that she's working on. Next. So there's an indie crossover fighting game that's releasing in August.
Another one.
Yeah,
Bring
this
it
one,
on.
This one looks really cool. It's called Blade Strangers, which features characters from Binding of Isaac and Shovel Knight in it, and it reminds me of like the old Capcom versus Marvel fighting games, not the 3D ones, but the 2D ones with that style. It looks very fast paced, and like I said, this game is featuring characters from previous knockout indie games that we know of.
So it's not so much as a Super Smash Brothers clone, but
No.
more so like a Street Fighter, or like you said,
Yeah.
Marvel vs. Capcom style.
Yeah, that's I don't want to say that Smash is not competitive, because Smash is really competitive, but like it reminds me, it's like I guess more on a serious note compared to Smash, because Smash is kind of cartoony.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited to see this. I definitely want to pick it up. And Hollow Knight sales exceed 250,000 within the first 2 weeks of the Switch launch.
That's quite impressive for an indie title. I think Jake picked it up and he said he's loving it.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about it being like one of the best modern day Metroidvania games. Jake said that he loved the soundtrack to it. So I definitely need to pick this game up as well. I feel like between this and Celeste, my hands are going to be kind of full. And then also the games that we're going to be discussing on the next episode.
Also, it looks like that game Icons that we've followed for a little bit is actually the beta for that is going to drop on Steam on the 12th, actually.
Is that a brawler also?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
another... Yeah,
It's,
it's kind of another... It's in the same vein as like Smash and stuff like that.
I do remember you telling me about that. So there's a date for the beta?
Yep, July 12th.
Nice.
So very soon.
Is it open? Do you know? Does it say?
You can sign up. I mean,
Okay.
but yeah, you can sign up for the beta, and it's supposed to be early access is going to be on the 12th.
Nice. So what do you guys feel
For
about this
you
Halo TV series
PC
coming
players.
to Showtime?
It's about time.
I don't know what to think about it. I mean, because they had what was the movie that they came out with that was really good?
Forward Unto Dawn?
Yeah.
That was fantastic. I liked it a lot.
So do you think that we'll see something in similar vein to that?
I hope so, because they've technically announced this TV show years ago around Halo 3, and Steven Spielberg was attached to it, because originally it was a movie, and then they're like, well, we can't do a movie, but we'll do a TV show, and it's just been in limbo since then. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to see it finally get an official announcement. How about you, Andrew? Because I know you've been a Halo fan longer than I have been.
As far as what was it? What was the question?
How do you feel about a Halo TV series finally coming out soon?
Do it right, and I'm sure it'll be fine. And if you go cheap, it'll probably flop. It's kind of honestly, that's my theory. It seems like pretty much holds true with everything except for maybe like Doctor Who. If you don't have production value, you're not going to last. Doctor Who being the exception to that. But yeah, I mean, I've always, I still think personally that a Halo movie, if done right, could even like be in theaters and actually be a pretty big success. But once again, done right, and I'm not sure that people are capable of that in a lot of cases when it comes to Halo. I mean, there have been some decent, like you said, Forward Unto Dawn really wasn't that bad, but all of them are kind of just like, yeah. And I realize that sometimes it's harder than you might think to translate a video game into like, the cinema or a TV show. But yeah, certainly potential there. Obviously, you have the fans are there. So if you do a good job, even if they're not there immediately, if you can just kind of keep your head above water for a short period of time, I could see how could definitely, do well.
I'm excited to see a further progression of this, and hopefully, like you said, it delivers well.
Well, I mean, what was it? And my goodness, it's been so long ago since I even remember hearing any word about this. I couldn't say that anything is 100% accurate, but weren't they going to do? I'm pretty sure that they were going to do like a legit Halo movie at one point, like really pull out all the stops, and then like chickened out like basically halfway into pretty much.
I'm almost afraid to see a movie because there's not a whole lot of video game adapted movies that have really been that good.
Well, but to me,
I have read
feel like
the script for the Halo movie that was supposed to come
wow.
out. Because I used to have a friend that would collect scripts for movies that were unreleased or up and coming. It was good. It was faithful to the game. I'll say that much.
Like I said, at the end of the day, I mean, the story obviously is very important, and you got to choose something that's going to be interesting. But so often, I think, like I said, the studios don't have the guts to really commit to it, and they cheap out on the production value. And it, like, best case scenario, they leave I feel bad for those that are really trying to drive the movie, the directors and the director and all those that are kind of supporting him, because it's like, like they basically hamstring you on the budget typically with these kind of movies or shows. And so it's like best case scenario, you'll get like a cult following that'll be like, well, yeah, I know that, it's not the best, this or that. And the production value sucks, blah, 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 however you want to put it. But the story's really good, man. And so, yeah, I think that's the issue. I think a lot of times with movies like this or shows, like the visuals and, that kind of stuff, it needs to be real and believable that, even though that's kind of, backwards talk perhaps.
I almost feel like that they need to come out with like a trailer and like a really good movie poster, and then once everybody buys their tickets and goes in the theater, they just replace Starship Troopers.
Well, honestly, I think a perfect example, like a character I know, I've had discussions about this, and it's not necessarily Halo specific, but like I guess you'd call them, they're trailers. The trailers for Knights of the Old Republic, the online game, are like, oh my gosh, am I right, Carrington?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And well, I'm just saying, like, there it goes to show you, like, they're so amazingly done and so polished and so, like, off the charts that it's like people, I know, once again, myself and you have said, like, man, they should just, like, make a movie out of, like, just this as, like, the start. And that's the best part. A lot of people have argued that's the best part of that whole freaking game are those trailers. Yeah. And so, no, it definitely, it's all about just, give it the polish and do it right, and it'll get the recognition, but like I'm just not so sure that the business side of it would allow them to actually take that leap.
And I will say that is the problem that the Halo movie had. It was set up to be probably the best video game movie we were going to have to date. It had Neil Blomkamp as director of District 9, Elysium, and Chappie. Before he even made those movies, he was set up to make the Halo movie with Peter Jackson and Steven Spielberg as producers. The problem was, I can't remember the studio that had the rights to it. I want to say it was Paramount. They were not willing to front the money because it was going to be one of the most expensive movies ever made to date. Because Neil Blomkamp wanted not just like CGI warthogs. Neil Blomkamp was ordering real warthogs and real scorpions, not
Yeah, that's
CGI
what I
stuff.
heard.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
I heard the budget was like 400 million, and that might have just been something I just pulled out of thin air, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
yeah, and just to give you a just basically general idea of how expensive that is. I mean, all the Marvel movies, their budget's 200 million. So 400 million back in the early to mid 2000s was unheard of.
Yeah.
Oh
ridiculous.
goodness, no. Yeah, I mean it did pretty much kill it right then, but props to him for dreaming big, man.
Exactly.
Go big or go home.
But in return, Neil Blomkamp did eventually direct a Halo shorts, which you can go watch. But it's just a dream of what could have been if he was given a real budget.
Yeah, I don't think that, like, I know that there is some issue with translation between, like, making a video game into a really solid movie. And obviously there's been a lot of struggles with that. But I truly believe that it's not, like, the material or the source material that's the issue. It's just the commitment, like I said, on the part of the money people.
Well, I think it's just...
Anyway.
It's just going to be... I don't know. It's going to be something they're all going to want to see. And the fact that it's on Showtime, like, I think that their production value is going to be better because their shows, they aren't cheap.
Yeah,
That's
HBO or Showtime, usually they do put a decent budget into their stuff.
Yeah. So speaking of outer space still, Carrington, I'm sure you're excited for this. No Man's Sky is releasing this month on Xbox.
The Xbox One, baby!
Oh boy.
Which I
So-
predicted back when the game first released.
That it was releasing July of 2018?
Well, not that good, but I knew it was going to have an Xbox One release eventually. It was just a matter of when.
And
I
did you also predict that it was going to be a colossal
I
flop?
was going to say, what do you guys feel? Like, are you thinking that this is going to be good or bad?
Good.
I won't.
All right, hold on.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
go ahead. Why?
So when the game first came out, a lot of people didn't like it because, a lot of the promises that were made weren't in the game, and that's not the fault of the developer. It's at the fault of Sony for wanting it out at a certain time. The game that has been released now is the game that was promised to us 2 years ago, and when No Man's Sky releases later this month on Xbox One, finally, after 2 years, the multiplayer portion of the game will also be released.
With Xbox as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. On all platforms, the multiplayer update goes live.
So that's exciting. Like, that they're still working super hard with this game. Especially with, like, how discouraging it would be with the kind of launch that they had.
For
I
sure.
feel like this is Destiny 2 all over again. It's like, no, guys, we promise. It's literally better in every single way than Destiny 1. We promise. Please give us your money. Oh, yeah. When I said, like, totally different, I didn't mean, like, totally different.
I know it is a completely different game now. You can have you can have multiple ships now, and you can have carriers. You can have basically your own army. You can set up a farm. You can build things. Like, there's all kinds of different aspects that were not even in the game when it first released. It is literally not the same game anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's not as much pressure on a company like Bungie doing Destiny, when they release stuff and they keep trying to revive stuff. But I'm sure with the company that, created No Man's Sky, for them to continue to work on this over the last couple of years and make it the game that they intentionally wanted it to be, like, that's saying a lot for them not to just give up.
Oh, no, to be sure. I mean, that's, like, mad props. I mean, I thought that game was long dead. So, yeah, props to them for, having, it's obviously their baby. Just hopefully, like I said, I won't be one of the guinea pigs, but if everybody and their brother starts saying that it's, like, the greatest game ever, yeah, I might pick it up eventually, but... Yeah, I'm not jumping right in. I'll let Carrington fall on that grenade.
Yeah, I'm with you in that as well. I want to see how it is received when it's released, and then the fact that multiplayer will be included with it, that will draw me to it a little bit more if it is done correctly.
I will say there are certain games I have bought multiple times on different systems. I don't know if I'll do that with No Man's Sky because I do have it on PC already. I don't know if I'll go ahead and buy it again on Xbox One. but I will, excuse me, I will probably just try and see what happens with the multiplayer update.
Sweet.
Not really important, I guess, but wasn't there some type of class action lawsuit against No Man's Sky, or is that something I just imagined?
It came up, but then it quickly died.
Oh, okay.
So that is our news for this week. It was quite a bit. There's a lot, that's going on, and some good games that are coming out and TV series. But yeah, I think that'll take us into our off topic.
This has been quite the topic for the past, July? So yeah, about a month now. When Fortnite released on the good old Switch, it was automatically able to do cross-platform with all the other consoles, except for PlayStation 4. And if you had an Epic account that was linked to your PlayStation account and you decided to link that account to your Nintendo Switch, your account was automatically banned. And that was
Oh my god.
that was Sony's call, not Epic. So Epic had a crazy storm to deal with when that happened. So guys, Sony does not like the idea of crossplay compatibility with the other systems, being PC, Microsoft, and Nintendo Switch. Do you think ultimately this hurts Sony, or do you think that they are in such a good, high position? Because right now they are number one in sales as a console for this generation. Do you think they're just not worried about what kind of reputation that will do to them, and they will just be sitting high and mighty this whole time? And I have a lot more to say, but we'll start with that.
Fair enough. No, I would just say, I'll try to keep it relatively short. I guess at the end of the day, whether they're wrong or right is relatively immaterial in my mind. If you're the last one to the party, so to speak, if everybody else is on board, that ship has sailed, so to speak. I mean, it's, whether or not they want it to be that way, I'd say that there's no stopping it. If everybody else is like, yeah, cross-platform's cool with us, then that's just going to piss people off, and they're just going to look at it and say, well, I can go with literally any other console and play with my friends who perhaps don't have the same ones as me. So, yeah, I don't see it as a wise move. And just because Sony's on top with this generation, I mean, that changes pretty much every generation. It's not like they've been top dog the last 3 or 4 systems or anything. So,
Agreed.
To see your perspective for Sony, sorry, Cody, I'll say this, then you can do your thing. Sony is sitting safely at around 70 to 80 million sales total with their consoles. Microsoft, last time I checked, was around 40 million, and the Switch is at 20 million. That was all I had to say. Yeah. What were you going to say, Cody? I'm sorry.
No, I agree with Andrew. I don't think it's a great move, but they'll do what they want. That's the mindset of every game manufacturer is we do whatever you want, and if you don't like it, then the consumer goes elsewhere, pretty much.
typically.
So they have their mind set a certain way. Then I don't know if any number of community people can sway that. So
What do you, in that vein, Cody, what would you, because I mean, obviously we did see that Microsoft kind of backed off some of their hard line stances before the Xbox One came out, and they did at least on some level respond. Do you think you would see a similar reaction from Sony if it's a strong enough pushback, or you just think there's not going to be enough traction for that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too far by me. I've never had a PlayStation except for the PlayStation 1, so
That's long way.
I left PlayStation a while ago. So I just can't get used to the controller. It just feels weird. I hate it. But
I agree.
it just doesn't feel natural having both thumbs angled downward to move. I don't know. Xbox just feels more comfortable.
No, Xbox definitely has the best controller. I don't think anybody who's reasonable would argue that.
Especially for racing games. Like I could manage like first person shooters and stuff like that on a PlayStation, but racing games are just odd. In all senses of the word.
I find it kind of funny, with Nintendo being kind of so out of it when it comes to online play compared to PlayStation, Xbox, that they are the ones that are stepping forward and doing something cool online as opposed to Sony.
Yeah, good point.
I mean,
And I will say in that vein too, Kyle, like Microsoft and Nintendo have actually teamed up and they have made ads even that are on YouTube about those two systems being able to talk to each other in regards to Minecraft. And they've even pushed it so hard that, hey, you can play Minecraft on the Switch, you can play Minecraft on the Xbox, and you can play with each other. And they make that very clear that those two systems are compatible with each other.
I just... Yeah, Kyle,
I was
sorry.
gonna say, isn't that what gaming with your friends is about? I mean, obviously, Cody, you don't like Nintendo, but Carrington, you're a huge Nintendo fan. So what if you each could only afford one console, but you still want to play games together? I mean, if you are at core, I mean, obviously you're a business, but you're thinking of the consumer. You're thinking about their social life and everything. Like, you want to put that into consideration and provide for them what they want and make them happy. Because when it comes down to it, at the bottom, I almost feel like the decision that you have for the one console that you want to buy is going to be based on the exclusives.
Yeah.
PlayStation has phenomenal exclusives. Nintendo has phenomenal exclusives. Microsoft, they're not as phenomenal, but still, I mean, those are what draw you to the consoles. But still, make it...
was a time when I think Microsoft had a stranglehold on the exclusives.
Oh, yeah,
personally.
for sure. But make it convenient to where even if they want your exclusives, that they can still play with their friends.
Exactly. Well, I mean, think about it. I know for me, when I was growing up, and I doubt it's very different from any of you guys, you couldn't afford to have every freaking console. It's like you had one, and if you were like, if you quote the rich kid, you had two.
Yep.
But so that's right there. It's like, and that's why I'm kind of back to my original point that maybe this would be okay if like only one was the dissenting opinion. If like, let's just say for instance that Microsoft was like, hey guys, come on, yeah, cross compatible, let's do it, and then Sony and Nintendo both were like, that's stupid. Then it'd be like, okay, I bet you they're gonna be able to, that'll be how it'll stay, each one to their own console, and that'll be the end of it. But when you have basically multiple options, it's like, as a kid, if you're like, and Nintendo's already geared towards younger kids, and then obviously Xbox is kind of like the mainstay of a lot of your teenagers. So it's like, I would argue you could, in a lot of ways, you could say that the one that is really geared toward that audience of, that's not going to have quite as much income to put towards that, they're going to pick a Switch or an Xbox. I mean, it's just going to be easy because it's like, not only did you have the exclusives depending on what your poison is on that route, but then you're like, okay, if my buddy has an Xbox but I really want to Switch, that way we can play together. So why would I buy a PlayStation? So,
And I will say like back when the Xbox 360, PS3 days, when the whole cross-platform thing has come up multiple times, Sony was, ragging on Microsoft, saying, well, we would love to, but, the Xbox Live terms and conditions doesn't allow it, which is true. And then Microsoft changed their terms and conditions this generation, and Microsoft said, hey, we're open to it. It's up to Sony. And Sony was like, well, we'll see. And then people like, Rocket League and Fortnite and like those two games have shown it is literally just a flip of a switch, basically, because they have both turned it on to where everyone talks to each other by accident. So it's just a matter of those companies saying yes. And this generation, of course, like I've said before, Microsoft has said yes, Nintendo said yes, Sony said no. So do you think eventually Sony will cave in, or will they stick to their guns? Because even someone like Todd Howard from Bethesda has called out Sony when he's been asked, hey, will Fallout 76 be crossplay compatible? And he said, we would love to do it, but Sony is not very friendly when it comes to that.
Well, I guess I know I've kind of hit it several different directions, but answer me this, every one of you. When you were a teenager growing up, was there not... I can vividly recall multiple times when my exact thought was, God, this would be really cool if I could play on my PlayStation while my buddy was, on his Xbox. Have any of you never had that thought?
Oh yeah.
For sure.
So we've all thought that. So it's just the natural progression of things. And once again, like I said, if it was just one that was open to it and the rest were not, then I'd say, okay, we're a ways off. But if you're down to just one dissenting opinion, they're gonna cave.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when.
Whenever that individual steps down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is literally a flip of the switch to turn it on, which astounds me.
It's so stupid. I think they're gonna cave in. Eventually, it's just a matter of time. Like Andrew said, if it's just one person holding them up, that's eventually going to crumble. And if they know what's right for the industry, and if they know what's right for their business and the consumer, it's something that they will do for us.
And I will say real quick too, just to like hammer it down, like how incredible this whole thing is. Last night I played Fortnite with a couple buddies. One person was on the Xbox, I was on the Switch, and another person was on the PC. And to have us not only just play with each other, but to talk to each other it just blew my mind, and it still blows my mind just even thinking about it.
Yeah, it is really cool. Now, can mobile players play as well? With
I think so,
everyone
yeah.
else? Okay.
Yeah, it's just
So
they'd have to plug in a Discord or something to talk to someone.
I was talking to a friend last night, and he said ever since Switch has been a part of it, games have been so much easier for them. So, kind of a side question, do you think that it's a disadvantage for people that play on Switch compared to the rest of the community? Number one, just as far as new players being introduced to the game, may have never played it, and secondly, the fact that you can't directly plug in a LAN or Ethernet cable to the back of your Switch. If that makes sense. Deal with
I would say
issues.
it would be, but I mean, isn't it fair to say that anybody who's not playing, and I mean, I myself do not play it on PC, so I'm not some, elitist,
Right.
on that. Is it fair to say that anybody who's not playing on PC is playing with a disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you can hotkey all of your building stuff to the keyboard, and you have a mouse for your aiming and shooting, I mean, I'm not a huge PC gamer, but that's just on a game like that, especially that requires a lot of buttons and a lot of functions. PC is king.
Yeah.
There's no freaking question, really. It's just a matter of how far down the ladder you are from there.
Yeah, that got me thinking. Along with Rocket League, because that is also a highly competitive game. How excuse me, how serious do you take it? And then, I mean, how far can you actually take it? If you are playing against other PC players, I can't imagine playing on mobile against someone playing on PC. And then trying to get good at the game, because you're at such a huge disadvantage, in my opinion.
Well, I know Cody said he loves to watch YouTubers fail, so maybe we should try to get Ninja to try doing it on mobile against everybody on PC.
Yeah, there you go. That's actually not a bad idea. But yeah, I don't know. That was definitely a good topic, Carrington.
Thank you. I thought about it. At this point.
So eloquent. Well put.
I'm glad that you said that. So I think that's it, man. Is there anything else you guys want to throw in there before we close off?
Nah.
Good here.
I'm good. I think that we covered it quite well, and that we have still a long way to go in that field. Looking at you, Sony.
Death stare. If you guys aren't aware, speaking to listeners, we had Mick Waits on for a quick little interview just to talk about the release of Miles and Kilo on the Switch, which by the time you hear this will be out. If you have not picked the game up, I think you definitely should. It's at a great price, and they'll be running a promotion where you get Kid Trip free with that. But it'll be releasing on the Nintendo Switch on the eShop July 5th. So, yeah,
And if you want to know what it's like, I played it on stream on our channel, twitch.tv/realdudespod. I actually beat the game in a couple hours. It's fantastic. If you want a preview, I did not give my opinions on it because at the time of stream, there was still a review embargo. So I gave very little thoughts.
Yep. That's it, man. That's our show. We've got t-shirts still, at Spreadshirt. So be sure to go to www.realdudespodcast.com/store and check out our shirts. We got a great Overcooked shirt referencing Gordon Ramsay, and we got our logo as well. And you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Real Dudes Podcast, Twitter, RealDudes_pod. And then if you got any questions, feel free to email us at podcast@realdudespodcast.com. Guys,
And don't forget, you can also donate and subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/realdudespod to support the show that you so love. And thank you for making it this far.
Couldn't appreciate any better, brother. Other than that, guys, it's been a pleasure speaking with y'all. And have a rad day.
Bye.
Bye.